Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome or welcome back. Today I'm doing another makeup collection video where I'm going through two different sections of my collection, the bronzers and the blushes. I've done my primer collection and maybe one other, so I'll have the other videos in this makeup collection series that I've done in a playlist in the cards right now in the upper right hand corner, as well as down below. But I think that's all I gotta say. Let's go ahead and get into the collection video. So let's start off with the Tarte Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. I believe this is the waterproof version. Here's what it looks like. It's a pretty good bronzer. It's one I've had in my collection for just an incredibly long time. I don't know if I'd really recommend it just because there's so many good ones out now that I like over this one, but if you are interested, I'll have this product as well as pretty much every other product that I'm mentioning linked in the description box below. If you decide to purchase one of these products using my link down below, please know if it has an asterisk beside it, that's an affiliate link, which means I can make a commission off of your purchase at no extra cost to you, but I do like to always be upfront about that whenever I have a, affiliate link in my description box, or multiple. Now moving on to probably my favorite bronzer, if not definitely my favorite matte bronzer that I own. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Matte Bronzer. Here's what it looks like. This is in the milk chocolate version. I believe they have three. This is a little bit of a pricier bronzer, but it has lasted me forever. This particular one I've had for 2 years now. I will say, when you initially open it, I feel like the quality, and this goes for a lot of other makeup products as well, but the quality has, I don't want to say decreased because it's not like awful now, but it's not quite as good as it was when I initially got it in kind of that first year of use. Now it's, I don't think quite as blendable, but it is still very blendable, buildable, and I do really recommend it. Then we have this bronzer from Becca. This is one that I'm unofficially trying to pan. This is the Sunlit Bronzer, I believe in the shade Bali Sands. So here is what it looks like. This is a pretty good bronzer as well. It does have a little bit of a shimmery, look to it. It's a little orange, so I do have to be careful when I wear it, but I do really enjoy this one. I would recommend it. However, again, it's even pricier than this one. I know this one's a little bit different in formula, but I think there are better ones out there that are more affordable than that one. So here we have the Hoola Bronzer from Benefit. This one I don't use as often as I should, and that's probably just because, I'm going to be honest, it's because of the packaging. I think that I would actually really like the color. I would probably like the formula. I just don't use it very often because of this boxy. I feel like it's really difficult to get a brush in there because a lot of my bronzer brushes are a little bit bigger, and those are the ones that I prefer to use, so that's why I don't really go for this one. I really should try it out more again because, I think I'd enjoy it. So here we have, I think this is described as a highlighter. It's the Laura Mercier highlighter in Indiscretion, and man, I love this as like a body bronzer, like a shimmery bronzer for the body, or even on the face on occasion if I'm tan enough. But this for me would never in a million years be a highlighter, which is why, for some people it totally would. But for me, because I am so fair, I keep it with my bronzers because I found that's the only way that I would realistically use this product. It is expensive. I don't know if I'd say it's really worth the money, but because I have it, I will use it. So here is the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer. Here's what it looks like. I believe this is like $10. I think I have mine in the lightest shade. Here's what it looks like. It's a pretty good matte bronzer. I would say it is comparable in some ways to the Too Faced one that I mentioned. However, it is not quite as good. I'm still on the hunt for a really good matte bronzer from the drugstore. This is good. It's definitely something I'd recommend, but not as much as I'd recommend this one. So next we have the Invisible Bronze Bronzer from Bare Minerals. If you've been around for a while, you know this is one of my all-time favorites. I think it's just such a good shimmery bronzer. It's kind of like a baked formula. You can see I've loved it. And it's unfortunate because I'm pretty sure it goes in and out of stock like crazy, and it makes it seem like it's not going to come back. So as of right now, I'm not sure if you can get this. I hope that you can, but I'm just not sure. But if you can find it, especially if you can find it on a discount, definitely grab this if you like shimmery kind of bronzers. Then we have, I love this. I almost bought another one yesterday and I was like, no, finish it up completely, then you can get another. It's the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. Such a great drugstore shimmery bronzer. Oh my goodness, cannot recommend that enough. I believe this is just the shade Bronzer, kind of just their original shade. They do have, now finally, deeper and lighter shades as well, so hopefully more people are able to use this bronzer. Such great formula. It's about $15, which is pricey for the drugstore, but in comparison to all these other higher end bronzers, this is amazing. It is my favorite drugstore bronzer. So here I have some bronzers from Makeup Revolution. This one doesn't have the label on it rubbed off, but this is the Vivid Baked Bronzer. These are two different shades. Honestly, they're very similar. It's kind of scary. You can see the packaging quality isn't really there. Then again, I think I paid like $5 or $6 for these, and they work really nicely. I like them as, sorry, I'm trying to get the lid on. I like them as kind of body bronzers, kind of to add a little bit of warmth to, you know, the body. And then this is another one, just in kind of a similar shade. Not sure if you can still get them. If you can, I would recommend them, but they can be a little bit patchy if you try and use them on the face. So now for some products that are just kind of hiding back here. First, I have a little Nars Laguna. This is a really good bronzer. Again, I think the only reason that I don't use it as often as I should is because of the whole brush thing. A lot of my brushes just are so big and fluffy and they won't fit into this compact. And then I have two like stick cream bronzers. The first one is actually another, you know, face highlighter, but it's one that I can never use realistically on as like a highlighter. Here is the Strobe Light Face Highlighter from Kokie. I don't use this all the time. I don't use this very often, to be completely honest. Like, I very, very rarely use it. It's okay. Like, it's not awful, but it's just not my type of product. And then I have a product from Trish McEvoy. It's the something quick. Oh, it's the Fast Track Face Stick. And I believe this is just the shade Bronze. And you can see it's just kind of this little bronzing stick. Again, I don't use it very often. It kind of has a little bit of a very shimmery finish to it that I just don't adore, especially for a cream bronzer. So, I mean, I keep it around, but I'll probably end up decluttering it in the near future. So now moving on to blushes. Blushes are my thing. I love blushes so, so much. Recently, within the past year, I've discovered a good bit of favorites, so I'll be sharing those with you as well. But first, let's talk about, actually, this is one of the favorites. It might be my favorite blush at the moment, especially like drugstore blush. This is amazing. It is the Maybelline Fit Me Blush in the shade, I believe, Mauve. Let me make sure I get that right. Yeah, Mauve. So here's what the actual blush looks like. You can see in the pan, it looks just like a little shimmery pink blush. But man, this looks beautiful on top of, you know, whether you're doing full glam or kind of a lighter makeup look, more subtle. It's beautiful. It's so versatile. I'm about to, well, when you're seeing this, it really could be like October. Who knows? Just because I'm pre-filming a lot, but I'm definitely planning on, this is like the one product I know for sure I'm bringing to college with me, because I'm about to start packing. That's the only reason I thought of that. Then I have this one. I'm not sure if you can get anymore. I saw that Laura Geller is kind of like coming back into the game, which makes me really excited. This is one of their blushes. I believe it's in the shade Fruit Punch. It's a baked blush. I've had this for quite a while, to be honest, and it's one of those blushes that I think the formula is great. But if I had a different shade, I feel like I would use it more, because this one, although it may not come across that way on camera, it is pretty punchy. It's got quite a bit of pigment to it, and just, I don't know, it's a bright, bright color, so I keep it around for when I want something like that, but to be honest, that doesn't happen very often. Then we have another drugstore blush I've been enjoying. It's the Milani Rose Powder Blush. This is, I believe, in the shade Romantic Rose. I really like the formula on this. I will say, it's a little bit hard to blend out, but once you do, it looks beautiful, and it stays for a good period of time. In the pan, it looks a little bit orangey, the actual shade, but it really does not come across that way on the skin. So this is one I've been liking a lot. I don't know if I would call it a favorite yet. I still need to use it a little bit more, but I have been enjoying it. So here we have some of the older e.l.f. blushes, but I'm pretty sure you can still get them. This is the e.l.f. blush, the mineral blush in the shade Mellow Mauve. I really like this. I don't use it as often as I should because I think it comes off a little orangey. And when I'm thinking of like mauve, I want something a little bit more, I don't know, purpley on that end, and this is just a little orange. But this one I love. This is like the old packaging. I've had this one forever, but it still works good. This is Twinkle Pink. I remember this was like when everyone used to talk about, but guys, on a lightweight, like, you know, natural makeup day, I love this. I love using it on top of skin tints. It kind of can double as like an illuminator for the skin. It is beautiful. It just gives the most beautiful like pigment kind of flush to your cheeks, as well as a little bit of luminosity and radiance. I love it. Here is my ColourPop Super Shock blush. Let me show you what it looks like. This is in Count Me In. This is one I like to use a lot. You can see I have like little brush hairs in it. That's kind of gross, but this blush I really enjoy as far as cream. I know it's more of like a cream to powder blush, but I'm not a huge cream blush person, and this is one that I really enjoy and think is quite easy to use. I really like these Super Shock products from ColourPop, so definitely would recommend this. Here we have my MAC Caitlyn Jenner blush. I'm not like a huge, like, I do watch the Keeping Up. What is wrong with me? Keeping Up with the Kardashians on occasion. but I'm not like a huge fan of any of them. I just thought this blush was really pretty. It was limited edition quite a long time ago, but I love swirling this shimmery shade as well as the pink shade together, kind of that matte pink shade. It looks so pretty. It can be a little bit pigmented, so I do have to go in with a lighter hand, but I do really like this. Here's another Milani blush. This is one of their baked blushes, and I do like this formula, but I don't think I have the right shade. It's in the shade Berry Amore, and I was expecting it to be a little bit more berry-like when I got it. Kind of have a little bit more of like a pinkier, rosier, raspberry-y, you know, kind of look to the cheeks, but it's really got kind of an orange tint, at least when I apply it. Maybe it's just not for as fair of a complexion as my own, and that's why it kind of shows up a little bit orangey. So I don't use it very often, but I do like the formula and would like to try this in another shade. So here's a very pigmented blush. It is the Buxom Primer Infused Blush in the shade Visa, and I want to get more of these, but honestly I don't love a lot of the other shades. I just think these blushes are so pretty. You do have to go in with a light hand, but when you tap it off, they're so long lasting. I feel like they really just mesh well with the skin. And I don't know, there's just something about this formula that I really love. However, this color in particular, although I do use it and like it and prefer it to the other ones I believe that are on the market, I don't love it that much because I like more of like a rosy, mauve-y, lighter blush than this kind of just bubblegum pink shade. Then we have an Hourglass blush, and this is one that I continually love and go back to. This is the Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Diffused Heat. I would love another blush from Hourglass, although they are crazy expensive. I just think they're so beautiful. They provide like the beautiful flush to the cheeks as well as some, you know, kind of a sheen, a glow that is just absolutely gorgeous. For the packaging, as far as that goes, I mean, I think you're definitely not paying for the packaging. It is not the best quality. You're really paying for the product inside. So don't let that throw you if you pick it up and it just feels like a very light, flimsy packaging. Look at the actual product inside. Think about that because that's really where it shines. So here's a blush that I've had forever. I continue to love and use. I really don't think it's gone bad yet. It's the Benefit Rockateur blush. Here is what it looks like. This one I have brought so many different places. I've used so many times, like hundreds of times probably. It is just a really good rosy blush. It also has kind of a perfumey smell to it. I don't know, I like that. It doesn't really transfer onto the face. Like that smell does not linger for very long. It does have that similar kind of boxy style packaging that I said I didn't love with the Hoola bronzer. However, because a lot of my blush brushes are typically, you know, smaller, they'll fit in this compact, I don't have as much of an issue using it. So here's another highlighter that goes in the, you know, a different category than actually a highlighter. It is from Fenty Beauty. It's their Kilowatt highlighter in the shade Girl Next Door in Chic Freak. This for me is a blush. They're shimmery blushes, but to me, ooh, it cracked a little bit up there. But for me, it can never be a highlighter. So I just keep it in here because that's where it'll get the most use. I like using them together. I very rarely will use that one alone. I'll typically you know, mix it with the other one or just use that one just because it is a little bit intense and shimmery. So sometimes it can be a little too much for me, but this is a duo that I do really enjoy. I've had it for a while, still going strong, and, you know, we'll continue to use it. I think they just discontinued this style of blush. I know they still have the color Icon blushes, but they're in like a different compact. It's from Wet n Wild in the shade Mellow Wine. I used to really love this, but to be honest, it's another one of those that comes across a little orangey. And considering that it's also a matte blush, I don't love that. I don't love matte orangey, like warm tone blushes. If I'm going to wear a warm tone blush, especially one that leans more orange, I like it to be shimmery. And this one I don't love. I'll probably end up decluttering this soon. Although I once loved it, now I don't see the appeal as much. Yeah, I don't think this is available anymore either. I really just need to get rid of it. It's the definitely next clutter. If I have not already gotten rid of this, I will. Mark my words. It's the Maybelline Master Glaze. It's just one of their cream blush sticks, and really the only reason I keep it around is because it's one of the only blush sticks I have that's a cream form. So I keep it around for that reason, but I very, very, very rarely use this. Then we have this NYX blush. This is one of their baked blushes. It's a blush and an illuminator, but for me, it's just a blush. I really like the way that it comes across. It looks very, I don't know, like a pretty bold shade in the actual compact, but when you swatch it, when you use it on the face, it comes across a lot less intense and much more muted, which I like. So here I have two blushes from Jane Iredale. I will say these were sent to me, so I want to disclose that just as PR, not sponsored or anything like that. This is the Clearly Pink shade, which is a pretty, it's It's got like a little bit of shimmer to it. It's a pretty intense, you know, pigmented kind of bright pink color, so I don't wear it quite as often, but you can definitely sheer it out, and if you tap off some of the pigment, it'll be a little bit more subtle. But then this is the one that I love this one, you guys. This is Cotton Candy, and it's just this light, it's a little bit shimmerier, more shimmery than the other one I just mentioned. It's got a little bit more of like a not even iridescent, but just kind of a sheen to it. This is like a very light pink blush, and it reminds me a lot of the Maybelline Fit Me, these two shades, except this one has a little bit more shimmer to it. It gives that really pretty flush to the cheeks. You really can't go wrong. Like, it's another one of these that like you could use on a more full glam day or a subtle day. It's really good. So here is an old blush, but it is one that I love. It's one of my favorite peachy pink blushes. It is the Palladio Matte Blush. I don't think you can get this anymore. I'm really just trying to finish it up, but I do really like it. It's coming across a little bit more orange than it actually is in person, but it's really pretty. I do wish it had a little bit of shimmer to it. I'm someone who prefers that, but yeah, this formula is really nice. It's one of the few products that I have tried from Palladio. I believe this is in the shade Peach Ice, but let me make sure. Yeah, Peach Ice. So here's one of the Stila Convertible Color Lip and Cheek little cream products. This just comes in a compact. I believe this is the shade Magnolia, and I'm not sure if this particular one is available anymore, but there is a shade like Camellia or something that is very similar, I know. This one's just a little bit deeper in like color. This I really do like. I will say it's one of my favorite type of shades, and I don't have a lot of cream blushes that are, you know, that are this shade as well. So I would recommend it if you like cream blushes, but for me, I don't use it that often because I'm more of a powder blush girl. And I haven't tried out so many, you know, cream blushes out there that I feel like I am the aficionado for cream blushes. So I do want to disclose that. Like, I'm sure there are better ones out there than that one, but from my experience, this is a really good one. So then I have a blush from Model Co. This is just, I believe I got it in Ipsy a while back. Here's what it looks like. It's a pretty shade. It's a little bit too pinky for my liking, but I will use it on occasion. This is the shade, oh goodness, Cosmopolitan 01, if you're interested. Then here is one of my favorite MAC blushes of all time. I don't know, again, if they sell this particular shade anymore, but I know the shade Mocha is very comparable. The MAC blush formula is great. It's probably my favorite powder blush formula, just overall. I adore it. I love it so much and really cannot recommend it enough. I just think the blendability, buildability, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's blendable, it's buildable, really good blushes. So here are the Glossier Cloud Paints. I know a lot of people don't love these, but I actually like them. They're not my favorites, but I do, you know, use them. I have the shade Beam and Dusk, and I'll typically combine them or just wear Beam on its own. Dusk can be a little bit too, again, you see a theme, a little bit too orangey for my liking, but I do really like these, especially on days when I'm doing more of a no makeup look. I know that's what Glossier is all about, but that's where I feel like these two really shine. So then I have two little Nars blushes. I'm going to talk about my favorite one. These are like mini size ones, kind of like the Laguna Bronzer I mentioned. This is the shade Gulu. Not sure, again, I feel so bad. I don't think you can get the shade either, but there are plenty of shades similar to it. It is so pretty. Like, I love traveling with this one. It's got that kind of a little bit of a deeper color than some of the other blushes I have while still being shimmery and buildable and blendable. It's a really, you know, I really like this powder blush. And I've tried out a few other ones, obviously, from Nars that I don't have anymore, but I feel like the formula is very overall consistent, and this shade in particular I do enjoy. So that is my bronzer and blush collection. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up before you go, and if you would like to stick around for more of my collection videos and other content that I'm doing, please do so by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already, and the notification bell if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I think that's it. So I'll see you in the next one. I hope you have a great couple of days till then. Bye, guys.